The Penguin. I was against this show. It was announced, and I was like, who asked for this? And I know a lot of people were there because we've seen characters, let's say, like Agatha, who are given their own show, and their show is just completely pointless. So I was like, not every character that stood out from a former movie or TV show deserves their own spin-off or their own story told. Sometimes it's okay if you're a supporting character and you played your role really well, and it just stays like that, you know. So I was really against this TV show, but boy, wasn't I proven wrong, and I loved it. As I usually say, if something surpasses my expectations, whether it's a person, whether it's a business, whether it's an opportunity, you have my full respect. And this show has my full respect. I have been doing episode breakdowns on my socials from the first episode up until the 5th episode. We are currently at the 5th episode right now, and I've loved every minute of it. Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Oh my god, the transformation. I remember when we watched this film, the Batman film, with my friend, and he was like, have you seen Colin Farrell anywhere? And I was like, no, I haven't seen him. Come to find out, he was the one playing the Penguin. As in the transformation, the fat suit, the prosthetics, he completely transforms into another person. He completely transforms. And I think that's why this character sells so much. And as someone who doesn't really know so much about the DC lore but knows some of it or parts of it, we know that the Penguin is a villain that is somewhat looked down upon, because Batman villains are like really spooky, they are like really cool, let's say like the Joker, Bane, you know, formidable, scary villain. So the Penguin is actually someone that just goes down under the radar. You wouldn't really notice him, and that is actually his superpower. And that's what makes this show really shine for him, because he's one of those people just see him as the driver, the driver with the disability. He's harmless, probably he'll just talk, but people don't see him as an actual threat, and because of that he actually gets to do so much, and people don't even catch up to him until it is too late. That is his superpower. People underestimate him. He takes that power of being underestimated. He works in the shadows. He pulls strings here and there, and then bam, he's someone who you'll be like, okay, we should have actually made a note about him, you know. And that is basically his story. We find him at the aspect of him meeting Falcon's son. We know that Carmen Falcone was killed by the Batman, right? There's a power vacuum, and the son is supposedly the one who's supposed to take over, but the Penguin offs him because of the hate, the being looked down upon. He actually insults him to his face, and the Penguin just shoots him and realizes, okay, I did something bad. But he's like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to actually try and take over. And he forms an alliance with the Meronis family. And we know these families are always at odds. They want to take over the city, but we know at the moment the Falcones were the ones that were on top, because we know that the head of the Meronis family is in jail. And as I said, the characters in this show, oh my god, all of them are spectacular. They're all great. They're all great. So he actually now becomes a puppeteer. He's pulling strings behind the scenes. He's playing along with the Falcones to show them that it's okay. They are going to find out who killed the son, and he's also playing with the Meronis, who he is telling them, we're going to take down the Falcones for you to take over. But in actuality, he's the one who wants to be the crime boss, and he's the perfect person to do that, because a lot of people don't believe that he can actually do that. As I said, his superpower is actually the aspect of people looking down upon him. So he takes advantage of that. He pulls the strings, and we are introduced to Sophia Falcone, who was in jail for a very, very long time. I didn't even know her story. I love how this show gets to tell us the backstories of people. I love how they showed us the backstory of Sophia. Sophia, as we find her or we meet her in the first episode, she seems very odd. She feels very off. She's said to be the hangman, and when you see her, you would think she's a serial killer because she looks very off. Come to find out, she actually was framed by her own father after her father realized she was on to him for the murders of the women that were being reported, including her mother's. So the father was like, I'm going to frame you and throw you in Arkham. She was supposed to be there for 6 months, but she ended up being there for 10 years. So obviously, she is supposed to be a little off. Obviously, and I loved the contrast when they were telling her backstory. When we meet her towards the beginning of that backstory, she's a very normal girl, but she's thrown in Arkham. She's uh, put through this process where people in a mental asylum, Arkham at that, and we know how intense Arkham is. She goes through this process. She gets to even kill someone with her bare hands. Obviously, after 10 years in a mental asylum, a place where you're not even supposed to be in, that place, obviously, that experience will change you. And as as Oz comes to realize, she's going to be a problem. And remember, he's the reason why she was thrown in there, because Penguin snitched on her. Penguin actually snitched on her. He was actually her driver. So he comes to realize that this lady is going to be a problem. And trust me, she's a problem, because in the 4th episode she gets to off her entire family. And the speech she gives before doing that, amazing, because I didn't think she would do that. Yes, obviously I knew she would go against the family, but taking them all out by a gas leak was something that I didn't even see. And the fact that she took I think her niece away from the house as she took care of the rest of the family shows that she has some sort of humanity in her. So every character in this show is very complicated. The other thing that I really love about this show, sorry if I am all over the place, but I hope you guys are following and I hope you guys have watched it. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it, because I am obviously spoiling it for you, is how they brought out Penguin. We get to see Penguin as a human being. He's disabled, especially in the first episode. We see he's disabled, especially when he takes off his shoe and you get to see his foot, because he usually limps on it, and that's where the name the Penguin comes from. I remember from the show Gotham, that's where I had it from. So I don't know where they would say from this show. Everyone just gets to tell their own stories. But yeah, we get to see him as a human being who is disabled, a human being who wants companionship. There's a reason why there's the bond between him and Victor, his apprentice, who I'll also talk about, is important to him because he doesn't want to be alone. Nobody wants to be alone in this world. At times it's just that circumstances force us to be alone. He creates this bond with Victor. He's his apprentice and he looks to him to assist him in so many things because he becomes his driver. But it becomes more than that. He sees himself in this kid because Victor stammers a lot. That's like a disability. So he sees himself in Victor. That's why he's so adamant in making sure that he does things the way he wants. That's why he was very hurt when he realized that Victor wanted to go. He was hurt by the fact that this person wanted to leave him. We see him pining for the love of his mother because his mother has really never loved him. We see him struggle with that because I think the mother blames him for the death of his brother or brothers, and there's a certain expectation that the mother has for him. She wants him to put her, or rather place her in a certain level in life. She wants that penthouse from Oz. She wants him to become that crime lord so she can live a certain way. But at the same time, you come to realize that she's also not completely there. So you see him struggle with that. You see him actually form a relationship with another woman. And this other woman's relationship, I think she's more of a stripper than anything. Either a stripper or prostitute. Either of those. I'm a bit lost on that one, but we'll probably find out hapo mbele. But you get to see him as a human being, but you also get to see him as a very ruthless person, especially in this 5th episode when he touched the mother and the son, the Maroni mother and son. You get to see that switch that happens of him being that brutal person, because he is a criminal at the end of the day. You know, sometimes you watch these shows and you actually forget that you're rooting for criminals. Get to realize that this guy is actually a criminal. He's not here to make the world better. He just wants to take control. He just wants to take over. So I really love the faces. As in, I love how the writers and the director just show us these faces, these different faces of these people that you know, because even you as a person, you're not just one thing. You know, you're a mother, probably a daughter, you work, you do humanitarian things, the things that you struggle with. When you're telling a story, you want to see someone as so many things. These many things are what make you you. And this show does that perfectly for every character. As I said, this show has one of the best characters. It has, I think they hired elite actors. Whether you're doing a big role, small role, you're perfect at it. The pacing in this show is great. It makes you you are anticipating actually for every episode. Every Sunday, I'm always looking forward to Monday because that's when I'll get to watch a new Penguin episode. That's how good this show is. The scripting, characters, as I usually say, the characters are usually as smart as the writers. So if you have the right writers, your characters will be good. They'll be great. They'll not say stupid nonsense things. You know that scripts you look at, like the scripts from Rings of Power or Agatha, and you're like, you know, people don't actually talk like this. Yeah. So this show is generally good. I love where it's going, especially where the 5th episode left us, because this episode was more of a guns blazing episode. We saw Penguin, his things go the way he wants. We saw Sophia also being a very formidable enemy. We also saw them coming together with the Moronis. And right now, she's not even a Falcone. There's a name she's using, her mother's name, because we all know that the father got rid of the mother when she became a problem. He got rid of her when she became a problem. So she takes down the Falcone name and uses her mother's last name to establish her own crime mafia family. So wherever we are right now, it's great. It's great. As I said, this show is it's really good, and I hope it's a limited series. And if they don't make it a limited series, because sometimes studios look at shows and they're like, oh, this show is successful, so we can milk this until it's dry. No, I hope even if they say they don't want it to be a limited series anymore, they don't do what they did to House of the Dragon on it. House of the Dragon, the first season was really good. The second season was nothing really happened. So I hope it doesn't fall on that blade of making a show that was really good. The first season was really good, and then the second season just falls short of expectations. As I said, the storyline is really good. It keeps you on your feet. The characters, the writing, and as I said, that we miss really good TV shows. So once a really good TV show comes out, people are actually looking forward to each and every episode, each and every week. People want to know what is going to happen next week. People want to know more about the character. People are just, in awe of this show. People didn't expect it to be that good. I was one of them. I was one of them who was like, this show doesn't need to happen. But it did, and I'm glad that it did. So, The Penguin. I don't know if you guys have watched it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what I have missed. Yeah, and let's have a discussion on the comment section. So, yeah. But till then, thank you.